This is the way most dives, and I expect Camperdown dive to work. This is a cross-section of the tunnels. You've got two tunnels, and in between, this section there is a cross tunnel. This cross tunnel allows people in the event of a fire or a major accident to get from the tunnel where the fire and the major accident is through to the other tunnel. The reason of this is because if you have an accident or a major fire down, say, at the St Peter's end in the southbound tunnel, you'll have to walk all the way back up to Rozelle or to Camperdown to get out of the tunnel. The only other way they can fix that is by sending buses down on the opposite tunnel to pick people up at these cross passages. The tunnels will be ventilated by jet fans. Here we have the jet fans in the WestConnex funnel. You can see there's four of them. They're quite long things. They blow the air along from in the same direction as the cars go. And at the exit point of each tunnel, you have more jet fans that blow the air with the exhaust fumes in them up a vertical stack that's 20 metres high or so, out into the atmosphere. You can see the Rozelle stack, or one of the Rozelle stacks, there's three of them, artistically hidden behind the gum tree. There will be inlet stacks along the route too, because the whole way that WestConnex is running its ventilation policy is to suck in enough outside air that the exhaust gases in the tunnel are diluted to the point where they're only just above the pollution level of the normal Sydney air. And that means they've got to suck in a lot of air. So at intermediate points along the tunnel, you'll have these so-called inlet stacks. Now, these inlet stacks can be reversed in the case of a fire in the tunnel to actually blow out the smoke from the fire. Now, the result of this is that the exit stack will emit an enormous amount of marginally polluted air, which will spread over all the surrounding suburbs. And this will serve to raise Sydney's pollution level. To speed up the construction, the tunnels are being excavated simultaneously at dive sites spaced along the route. This is where the Camperdown dive site's going to be. You can see there's the petrol station on the corner of Pyrmont Bridge Road and Parramatta Road. This is Parramatta Road, and that section there and the land behind it will be taken over for the dive site. Now, the dive site may in fact be not quite like the central one. It may just be a big hole in the ground. This is actually the Homebush site. And you can see you've got a crane lowering bits of machinery down. This is actually a road header being constructed down there at the floor of the pit. That spot there is where the road header is going to head in there, in that direction, to start digging the tunnel down to the next dive site. On top of that big hole, or on top of where the ramp comes up, depending how they're planning to get rid of the spoil, you're going to have an acoustic shed. The whole idea of the acoustic shed, that's the acoustic shed at Centra. You can see down there that there's a truck about to enter that roller door. That's inside there, just inside there is where the trucks get loaded using a front end loader or two. The whole idea of the acoustic shed is to reduce the noise level for neighbours so they don't get any complaints, and also to hide what they're doing. In the Northcote Street acoustic shed, I was there 3 days ago, and the spoil pile is actually touching the roof. It's that big. Because this tunnel is being dug through sandstone, it's basically large lumps of sandstone and sand. Here is a diagram of what I reckon will be happening at Camperdown. You'll have unladen trucks coming along Parramatta Road, making a left-hand turn from the left-hand lane into the shed. In this region there, they'll be loaded. The big pile of dirt spoil will be in this region there, and then once they're loaded, they'll come out the gate here, turn left into Pyrmont Bridge Road, come down here, make a right-hand turn, so they'll have to get in the right-hand lane to make the right-hand turn, out onto Parramatta Road, travelling west. And eventually they'll get on the existing M4, and that'll take them out west to wherever they've got to go to dump the spoil. A couple of things I might like to say about the Camperdown site is that it may in fact have an air inlet at it. Every other dive site around the place seems to have an air inlet. I can't see why Camperdown shouldn't have, seeing as there is another dive site before St Peter's, which surprises me because usually they're at intervals of about 1.3 kilometres. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's another dive site announced somewhere on Edgware Road, probably the TAFE on Edgware Road is my guess, because they go for publicly owned spaces to put these things in if they possibly can. Parks and things like this are prime targets. And the other thing is that if anybody has to walk up from St Peter's to avoid a fire in a tunnel, they'll be very glad to come out at Camperdown rather than Rozelle. This is underground, probably at an early stage of tunnelling. You can see an off-road truck there being loaded by the digger. That is a road header. It's run off electricity actually, and in front of it you have an off-road truck being loaded by the conveyor belt. You can see the rock that's coming off there. You can see the cutting head on the end of the road header, and you can see the wall that it's cutting into. The tunnel is going straight ahead this way, in line with the truck and the road header. And you can see up here, you can see rock bolts. They actually drill holes in the ceiling, put in long threaded bolts with fittings at the end that grip the rock, and then they put a nut on the end here and a retaining plate and screw it up tight. And the idea is to stop bits of loose rock on the ceiling here from falling off. After they've done that, they spray shotcrete over the whole of the roof and sides. Another part of this video shows this is happening. This is on the web, right? You can download this on the web and have a look at it. And so this actually makes the tunnel safe for people to walk around in. This is the layout of Sintra Park. You can see round here is the spoil heap, and this is where the trucks come in. They go through the area here and get loaded, and they come out this door and they go down here and make a right-hand turn onto Parramatta Road. And this works in theory. This is the kind of truck that you've got. The big trucks are 28 tonnes, and the dog trailer is another 28 tonnes. The small truck is 1 tonne. This is the traffic on Parramatta Road. This isn't peak hour. As you can see, it's 5 minutes to 3 in the afternoon. This is the way the trucks exit from Sintra Park. You can see it's got stuck in the traffic because the traffic's banked up behind the next lot of traffic lights, and it's holding up 3 lanes of Parramatta Road traffic. This is what happens sometimes. Here's a truck exiting, and there it is, it's holding up 5 lanes of Parramatta Road traffic. So basically, almost the whole of Parramatta Road is being blocked by a truck and dog. Now, this is the kind of thing that happens. The workers there communicate with the truck drivers. Here's one actually yelling into the cab, telling him he's got to go around the block. And you'll find this is happening a hell of a lot at places like Northcote, where they're getting basically banking up inside the facility, waiting to be loaded or in some cases unloaded, because the same entrance serves trucks carrying steel and concrete, so they have to be unloaded. And so you get a whole lot of these truck and dog combinations circulating around the local streets, waiting for a chance to get into the dive site. Now, I point out, these truck drivers, they don't get paid unless they get a load. Yes, more traffic on Parramatta Road. As you can see, it's largely trucks from WestConnex of that size. Here you've got a toll gantry. That thing there is a toll gantry. They're now at every exit on the M4. They'll collect 50 cents a kilometre and $1.30 flag fall in 2019 when WestConnex opens. And Parramatta to Haberfield will be $75 a week. So you can imagine that the rat runners will be trying to find routes that bypass this, and they'll be coming through your local streets. This will also include quite a fair number of these spoil trucks, because the toll for trucks is 3 times that. These rat runs, these will be the basis of the RMS's next road windings, no parking zones and clearways. This is the surface work at Haberfield. Now there'll be surface works at Camperdown. You'll be getting quite a bit of noise from these surface works. There'll be night work, the dreaded night work, which goes all night. And you'll be able to hear the reversing buzzers, the floodlights, the impact noise in the equipment motors, and also they'll have a diesel-driven crane on this site for sure. The other thing to watch out for will be the fact that you've got the construction workers parking. They reckon 130 workers at the Sintra Park site doing construction. This car park is after construction's finished while tunnelling's happening. This is 60 cars, I counted them. This is tunnelling. They'll be digging 24 hours, 7 days a week. The road headers will take out the crown of the tunnel, but blasting may be used to get out the bench. That's the lower section of the tunnel. And you'll probably only ever hear the blasting because these tunnels will be 30 metres underground. But you'll hear blasting 3 times a day because they do it at the end of shift. And there'll be 3 shifts because it's a 24-hour operation. This is one of the 18 road headers they've got in operation. You can see the business end of it. It's electrically operated, thank heavens, because otherwise there'd be a lot more exhaust fumes to come out of the tunnelling site, the dive site. But bear in mind, they'll be doing the same trick as with the road tunnel. They'll be diluting the fumes coming out of the dive site enormously. One of the reasons is because the workers down here, that's the air they have to breathe. That's a picture of the ventilation unit at the Northcote tunnelling site, the Northcote dive site. You can see it's enormous. It runs 24 hours a day and it's pumping out all this diluted exhaust gas into the air. I've spoken to you about how the neighbourhood will be affected by WestConnex, but you shouldn't base all your public opposition on local issues. This is just NIMBYism. The real reason for opposition to WestConnex is that it will just not work and that it takes Sydney transport in the wrong direction. Why? Roads are just too inefficient to be the basis of inner city transport systems. A lane of expressway can carry 2,500 people per hour. Compare that to a city rail track that can take 24,000 people per hour. If 1% of Sydney's 4.2 million population wanted to travel on a 3-lane expressway, peak hour would last 6 hours. If 1% were carried by a single rail track, then peak hour would last 35 minutes. That is the ventilation shaft and possibly the deluge storage tanks for the Haberfield end of the M4. You can see the 2 enormous cranes either side of it. You can just see the size of that thing. One of the reasons it's going to be large is because they're going to be getting rid of a lot of air out of the tunnels. This is going to be a big blanket of slightly polluted air over many suburbs. It's not the way we should be going. We should be trying to reduce Sydney's air pollution, not increase it.